Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the theme of the video. I am showing you how to give yourself a beautiful prom look with affordable products. Prom makeup, bridal makeup, because they're quite similar, is very simple. You don't want to overdo it, but you still want to look beautiful. And I will give my suggestions throughout of why I'm doing a certain thing a certain way. I hope you enjoy. I would suggest using a primer, but unfortunately on my skin, every single primer that I've used, especially from the drugstore, blocks my pores, so I'm actually going to skip primer. My favourite foundation from the drugstore is the Collection Lasting Perfection foundation. It says it's oil free and it wears up to 16 hours. I actually have not done a wear test on this foundation. Would you want to see that or not? Or is it too late to do that? But trust me on that one, it's pretty good. So like I said, I'm not going to use primer today, but if you don't get blocked pores from using a primer, use one. I'm going to apply my foundation with a sponge. If you want more coverage, you can always use a brush. However, I feel like the sponge gives you a nice skin-like finish, so I would definitely recommend using a sponge. I'm just going to apply that all over my face. Prom is definitely not the time where you want to test out new foundations. I would definitely go for a colour, the finish and everything else that you used to, and you feel something that you feel comfortable in. This particular foundation I really like because it has medium coverage. However, I can build it on my problematic areas to pretty much a full coverage. Always blend down my neck. However, if you are wearing white like I am today, try and not get it too far down because it will simply transfer onto your white dress and you definitely don't want that. Key to long-lasting makeup is to layer, and the best way to get a somewhat natural finish is using creams because they blend into your skin a lot better than powders. They don't sit on top, they melt into your skin. How I'm going to contour my face today is by using Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in C14. The reason I am contouring before I am concealing is because just in case I get a little bit heavy-handed with the concealer, aka the contour, I can always blend my under eye concealer on top of it to blend it furthermore. Don't worry, with good products you can blend everything in. So even if you feel like it's going wrong, just carry on blending and it will be fine. I always go for warmer contours anyway. In my opinion, it's always better to look a little bit more orange than grey and deadly. You may disagree. If I'm struggling to blend, I always flip my sponge onto the side where I've had my foundation. That way you can pretty much add the foundation that you already had and it's easier to blend. Okay, now I can do my under eye, and I'm using Collection Lasting Perfection 0. And I am highlighting face with this as well. And I'm priming my lids with this as well. You can use an actual eyeshadow primer if you wish. I feel like concealer works pretty much the same. If you feel like your contour was too strong, this is the part where you can take your concealer and blend it in. Unfortunately, something that I don't really enjoy doing is setting my face. However, because you want this makeup to last, you will have to set your foundation. Unless you have really dry skin, then you don't really have to, because it shouldn't come off your face anyway. I'm taking RCMA No Colour Powder. I'm not particularly a fan of baking. I only like to set my under eyes. However, I'm also going to use a sponge and set the middle of my forehead, which is the area where I get oily the quickest. A little bit on my nose. But I'm definitely using that wet sponge to really bounce it in so it doesn't look too powdery. And I'm using the tiniest bit to put on my chin as well. Now I'm going to use a big brush, dab it in the powder, make sure it's all in that brush, and gently swoop it and dab around the rest of my face. But I really don't want to powder a lot. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to use the same brush just because I can, and I'm going to take a peachy blush because it's quite neutral and it's going to look very delicate. I'm putting it on the apples of my cheeks and bringing it out. I'm going to take a little bit on the tip of my nose as well, actually. I really like that look. Not everybody does. I've zoomed you in for the eye part, and the eyes are very, very simple. I'm going to be using Revolution Sophie palette. My first colour is going to be, let me get my cheat sheet. I'm going to mix Penguin and Pancakes, which is the first two colours. Getting rid of the creases on my eyes, and I'm just setting. And I forgot to do my brows. This is so typical of me. For my brows, I'm going to comb them through and use Tanya Burr Selfie Sculpt Brow Pencil. I want quite natural, not overly done brows. If you don't have a lot of brows, you can of course use a pomade and go in a little bit stronger. Okay, now I've done my brows, I can actually do my eye makeup. And I've started off with Penguin and Pancakes to set my lids. The colour that I'm going to use next is Iced Coffee, that I'm going to put in the crease. And I'm slowly building that colour. This is a very delicate colour, but that's what I wanted. Next, the colour that I'm going to go for is Peaches, which takes this makeup to a more pinky side, but you could always go down the line of the Iced Coffee row and make it into a more brown look. Again, I'm putting that on the outside corner and in the crease, and I'm blending, making sure I start to build the shape. On my eyes, I prefer to have like an almond shape. One step down from Peaches, which is Danger, I'm putting it on the outside corner of my eye. Again, blending in with everything else, but I don't want this to go completely into the crease. So like I said, you could easily do this with all these 4 shades and it would give you a nice brown look. I'm gonna put the palette aside and I'm gonna add a nice pop of kind of glitter, but it's simply a single eyeshadow from H&M. It's in my Z palette because the only thing that I don't like about single eyeshadows from H&M is that they come in small packages and I just cannot be bothered with loads of packages like that, so I take them out and put them in Z palettes like this. I'm going to use Chin, which is an amazing colour, and I'm going to put that all over my lid. And this is a brilliant colour to have all over your lid, especially for prom, because it has almost like this glittery effect, but it's not loose glitter. You could use fairy lights from the Revolution palette if you wanted. I just wanted more of a glittery look. Now I'm going to focus on my under eye, and I'm pretty much going to mimic what's happening on the top. So I'm taking Peaches and I'm taking it on my lower lash line, making sure I have a nice blend like so. But I'm taking this flat brush again, and you know what, I'm actually going to use Fairy Lights from the Sophie palette to put in my very inner corner and a little bit on my lower lash line. You can see how bright that is. It would look amazing on the lid as well. So you don't have to use the H&M shadow. I just like it because of this glittery effect that it gives. Now I'm going to take a angled brush and I'm going to dip into Mug Cake, which is a warm brown, warm dark brown. You could always use a black, and I'm going to kind of line my outside corner. I want to make this quite smoky, so it's not in your face, but it does shape your eye a little bit more. I'm doing the same on the bottom, but I'm only doing it on the outside corner, 1/3 way in. I will add liner, but I don't want a wing. If you do want a wing, do that. I am going to simply, very gently line my top lid, but with a very, very thin line. Like that. I'm going to curl my lashes. Add mascara. Waterproof, because you might cry. This is probably the last time you've seen all your friends all at once, or you're simply too happy to be finished with school. You can leave it there, but of course this is prom, so I'm adding some lashes. In the meantime, I'm going to do my other eye off of camera and I'll be right back. Actually, you know what? I don't like this, so I'm going to take them off. Let me finish the rest of my face. I like how bronzed I am. I'm just going to add highlight, and unlike any other video, I will highlight my brow bone. For my highlight today, I'm using Revolution Sophie palette, and I'm taking this champagne gold first on a small brush, so I can highlight my brow bone. I will also use that brush to highlight my cupid's bow and my nose. Now I will use Revolution setting brush to do my cheek highlight. And I want it blended in. I want it to be blinding, but I want it to be nicely blended. So I'm actually going to take my sponge, redampen it, and use it to blend my highlight in. Finally, for my lips, I'm going to use a liquid lipstick that is comfortable to wear, that doesn't look crusty, and you can reapply it. And that's my final prom look. Tell me what you think down below. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. Enjoy prom.